Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Welcome to Storming the Field, the podcast that explores the exciting intersection of sports, gambling, fantasy football, maybe some music, and at the end of the day, just about anything I want to talk about. I'm your host, Brian Allen, also known as Storm. You never know what we're going to get into on our podcast. Maybe a top 10 list, maybe the week's fantasy football rankings. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a guest, or maybe it will just be me. We're just going to do what we do. So I hope you'll join us on this exciting adventure. This is Storming the Field, and we're ready to take on anything that comes our way.
The storm is heading your way.
All right, welcome to Storming the Field. I'm Brian Allen. I'm your host. We're going to knock out a quick episode this evening. Kind of got a little inspired earlier. We're going to talk a little summertime concerts and give you some backstory there. And probably that's going to be it for tonight. So after this brief message, we'll get into our concert talk.
Attention high school sports fans, are you an armchair official? You know, the parent or fan who constantly yells at the referees and loves to let everyone know just how bad you think they are. Well, if you think you could do better, then get in the game and prove it. It's time for you to suit up and make the calls where they actually count. Every sport in Texas needs more officials. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Hey, once again, welcome back. This is Storming the Field. I'm Brian, your host. So I was looking at Twitter the other day and saw that one of my buddies, a longtime friend, going all the way back to high school, David Ritchie, had tagged me in a Twitter post, and he actually gave me a shout out in his own podcast where. And hey, I may just tag it. You can go listen to it. But he was talking about some things he was doing with his kids over the course of the summer, and kind of mentioned a concert that he and I had gone to back in 2000. Now I've been to my fair share of concerts in my lifetime. Music's always been real important, and I've always enjoyed it. I didn't go to many concerts in high school, but once I got out of high school, I started going to see some live music a lot more often. My very first concert was in Abilene, Texas. It was George Strait. I think I was maybe 4th or 5th grade. I can't remember what year it was, but I do remember George Strait was there with Highway 101, and that was the very first concert that I went to that I can remember going to. But David had mentioned us. He and I went to see the Summer Sanitarium Tour, Metallica in the year 2000. Interesting note about this concert. I didn't really know many of the other bands that were going to play with them, but it was like an all-day festival. I think it opened up with System of a Down, who I'd never heard of before. But they put on a great show and was a great opening act there, followed by Powerman 5000, who was phenomenal. And then got into some bands that I was familiar with. And I can't remember. I think Korn was next, but I can't remember if it was Korn or Kid Rock. But they were the other two opening acts, and then ended up with Metallica closing out the show. But an interesting note about this show, I think this was... I looked it up a minute ago. I think this was on July 9th, 2000. 2 days before that, the Metallica lead singer, James Hetfield, had been in an accident on a jet ski and injured his back and was not able to perform. I think he was at the venue, but he was not able to get on stage 2 days after that accident. So it's very, very interesting. All the other acts got up there and sang the Metallica songs, and of course Jason Newsted sang a few too. And I'm going to go through the playlist here in just a second. Hey, but it was a phenomenal concert. I mean, if you were there that day, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It was a great show, one for the books for sure. You know, especially when something interesting like you have to have a fill-in lead singer. You know, I've heard people say, you know, hey, you go to a concert time after time after time, and, you know, if you go to so many that it's almost the same thing. But this is something that, you know, has never happened before, and probably hasn't happened since. And it's just one of those things that I always thought was cool, that, hey, I was able to be there for that show. You know, I was a Metallica fan, still am. I loved Metallica when I was you know, in high school and growing up and into my college and my 20s and 30s. But really, I think the reason that I wanted to go to this show was Kid Rock, you know, and it was when Kid Rock was just getting going. The Devil Without a Cause album was out, and it was maybe American Badass had just come out, but it was the reason I wanted to go. You know, I've kind of always, especially in my younger days, I would always say that, hey, if I could ever come back and be somebody else, I'd want to be Kid Rock. And I don't know why I always said that. I mean, he's pretty irreverent. I mean, but he speaks the truth and stands by what he says, and he puts out some good music too. So anyway, that was the reason I wanted to go to the show. But we kind of fell into a unique situation. So after the 4 opening bands came out and rocked the house. And when I say rocked the house, the place was rowdy as heck. You know, it was in Texas Stadium, the old Texas Stadium. They had these cheap little, and I say cheap there, I mean, every seat had like a little cushion that was attached with some rivets down to the cushion. And hey, before the night was over, every one of those in the whole stadium, I think, had been ripped out, and they were being thrown around. And, of course, you know how rock shows are. They do get pretty rowdy. And we weren't down right in the mosh pit or anything. I mean, we had seats up in the stands, but we had great tickets. We could see everything. And it was a great show. So when Metallica came out, of course, I don't think we knew what was going on with James Hetfield until we got there that day. But the set list opened up, and of course I got this off the internet. It's amazing what you can find on the internet, but it is the set list from the Summer Sanitarium Tour, Dallas, Texas, July 9th, 2000. Opened up with Creeping Death. Jason Newsted was on the vocals there, and Kenny Olson on rhythm guitar. For Whom the Bell Tolls, again, Jason Newsted took the vocals there. The third song was Seek and Destroy. Jason Newsted on vocals, Kenny Olson on rhythm guitar, and then additional vocals, hey, by Joe C., who came out. You know, of course, he was with the Kid Rock band, and came out and rocked some Seek and Destroy. It was awesome. I do remember that. It was crazy, but it was a lot of fun. Mastertarium is what they called the next song. It was a combination of Master Puppets and Sanitarium there. Jason Newsted and Serge Tankanian, I think is his name. I can't remember exactly how to say that. Were the vocals there. Hey, and then the next song was One. Of course, one of Metallica's big songs there. Jonathan Davis of Korn came out and took care of the vocals there, which was really, really cool. And then hey, we got into you know, I told you that the reason I wanted to go to this show was for Kid Rock, and Kid Rock's set was awesome. But then he came out and performed for the next 3 songs. And the next one was Nothing Else Matters with Kid Rock on vocals. And it was awesome. It was phenomenal. And then Fuel, which was probably not my favorite Metallica song, but Jason Newsted took care of the vocals, and Kid Rock actually came out and rocked the turntables on Fuel, which gave it a whole new essence, which was, man, it was awesome. It was fantastic. And then Kid Rock finished off his night with Turn the Page. on vocals, Kenny Olsen and Jason Krause on the guitars there, along with Metallica. And then they finished off their set with Enter Sandman, which was the song at the time. Still one of my favorites. If I'm going to get pumped up, there's probably 4 or 5 songs that I listen to, and Enter Sandman is always on that playlist. Jason Newsted again took the vocals for this one, and the entire everybody. It seemed like everybody that had taken the stage that day came out for that song, and it was a madhouse. There were so many people on stage, but man, it was cool. It was just an awesome concert. Like I say, it seemed like it lasted forever because it was an all-day event. I think it started at noon, and of course the 5 bands played all day long and the end of the night and finished with Metallica. And then, hey, it took us forever to get out of there, but it was a great concert. Glad I was able to do that with David, and like I say, still some great memories for me to this day. Like I say, it was a cool concert because it was one that you don't see every day. You know, it was just kind of out of the ordinary, something unique, but something really, really cool. We're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to run through another set list of a similar show that I was able to attend right after this.
Texas, where our pride, strength, and unity keep our spirits high as we march forward. Showing our pride by saying don't mess with Texas means we all got to step up. Walk the walk, do our part to keep Texas clean and safe. Because after all these years, all these miles, all these traditions, for all of us Texans, including me, Matthew McConaughey, don't mess with Texas means don't litter.
All right, welcome back to Storm in the Field, and we're talking a little music today, specifically talking some summertime concerts to remember. We talked a little bit about a concert I went to in the year 2000, Metallica, and how cool that concert was with Korn and Kid Rock and System of a Down and Power Man 5000. Hey, a similar concert, which was, I say similar, is completely different style of music, and completely different situation. But back in 2009, Kenny Chesney, and I can't even remember who he was on tour with, but Kenny Chesney had come to Frisco when I was working in the Frisco area, and we got tickets. And the show actually it was at Pizza Hut Park there in Frisco. It was Pizza Hut Park at the time, and outdoor venue, and like I don't want to say a generational storm, but a huge storm rolled through and actually caused the concert to get postponed and canceled. So by the time they got a new date set, all of Kenny's opening acts were unavailable. So he didn't have anybody to open the show, but he was bound and determined to come back and put on the show in Frisco. Of course, the venue was in Frisco, but it was actually his Dallas show. So it was a big deal. So Kenny Chesney was coming back, and he was just going to be the only act, which was, going into it, I was a little disappointed just because I thought, hey, just one act. I mean, this is probably going to be a short night. It's not going to last very long. But I tell you what, I can't remember exactly what the time frame was, but Kenny Chesney showed up, and we're going to run through this set list in a minute. Of course, I found this on the internet again, but I want to say he played for like 3.5 hours. He played 41 different songs, and about half the songs that he played were cover songs, which, hey, you don't get in a normal concert. Hey, they're going to come out and they're going to play all their hits, and occasionally they'll cover a song, maybe two, maybe something real popular in an encore. But this was a really, really cool show, and something that I didn't expect going into it, and I've been a Kenny Chesney fan ever since, just because of this. But let me go through the set list. Again, this is what he started out with. He came out with Something Sexy About the Rain. Then, of course, he played She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy, Live Those Songs, then Summertime, and then Beer in Mexico, then Keg in the Closet, and then Out Last Night, which was, one of the big songs of the summer for him. Then Big Star, No Shoes, No Shirt, No Problems, I Go Back, Anything But Mine. And hey, if you're keeping score here, hey, this is like the greatest hits of Kenny Chesney. I mean, this was like every song I wanted to hear. I mean, he was playing. I Go Back, Anything But Mine, hey, Down the Road, which is a McAnally cover. He played that. Me and You, There Goes My Life, Living in Fast Forward, Young, Never Wanted Nothing More, and then another McAnally song, Back Where I Come From, which was, of course, Kenny Chesney made that a big hit. How Forever Feels, Everybody Wants to Go to Heaven, When the Sun Goes Down, and then Don't Happen Twice. And then he came out and played Jack and Diane, which, hey, when this happened, of course, he'd been playing for a while. This was the 23rd song that he sang. Jack and Diane was the John Mellencamp cover. John Cougar probably is what he went by when the song came out. So, naturally we just thought, hey, this is the encore. This is going to wrap up the show, and we can probably get ready to start going. But he finished up Jack and Diane. They went off stage and immediately came right back out, hey, for their encore set. And their encore set was, oh my gosh, this is where the cover songs started coming. So he came out of his first kick off the encore. It was Take It Easy by the Eagles. Really cool song. And then immediately went into Gimme 3 Steps by Leonard Skinner, which that just kind of blew me away. I was like, oh my gosh, I mean, this guy can play it all. I mean, he's at the time probably one of the biggest country and western stars on the planet. And then he's coming out and he's playing some classic rock right off the bat, which was really cool. Finished up Gimme 3 Steps, went right into Dixieland Delight by Alabama. Then he played The Fireman, which took me back to my first concert. Of course, a George Strait cover, and that was really cool. Then he got into some Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Mary Jane's Last Dance, and then Steve Miller Band, The Joker. At this point, my mind is just blown. This cat's playing it all. I mean, he's rocking this house. And, of course, everybody is just rocking out and having a great time. Then he jumps into some Bob Marley. Yep, plays Three Little Birds. And that was really cool. And just to show some more stretch in his talent, goes from Bob Marley to Violent Femmes, Blister in the Sun, which about brought down the house. And again, we kind of thought, man, that's got to be it. This is going to be the last song. He's going to bring down the house with Blister in the Sun. Which everybody loves, especially live. But then as it wrapped up, hey, they went into U2, With or Without You, which, oh my gosh, it was so cool to hear him play that. And then, again, we're thinking at any moment this is going to be the last one. But then he went into Joe Walsh, Rocky Mountain Way, jumped back into some more Leonard Skinner with Sweet Home Alabama. Then played You Really Got Me Now by the Kinks, and another Mellencamp song, Hurt So Good. And then kind of back to some old school country, You Never Even Called Me By My Name, which everybody knows. David Allan Coe, Steve Goodman, great live song there. I mean, if you've ever been to a live concert and heard that, I mean, it's a great live song. Then played Ice Cream Man by John Brim. Then jumped back on one of his songs, Old Blue Chair. And then Please Come to Boston, which was a cover. But eventually Kenny Chesney also released it. And then finished up his encore set, which, again, was about 17 songs. But finished it up with Take It to the Limit by the Eagles. And, man, what a night. It was a very, very cool show. I can't tell you how cool that show was. just blew my mind. And like I say, I've been a Kenny Chesney fan ever since. And that's a show that will never be replayed. You know, that kind of like the Metallica show. It's just not something that you're going to be able to go out and see again. And the Kenny Chesney show in Frisco was so fortunate to be able to just kind of be in the right place at the right time, to be able to get tickets and to be working in that area when he did that. So, hey, two awesome summertime concerts. I attended with some really good friends, and will always be in my memories. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll be back to wrap up the show. All right, you're back, and we're going to wrap it up. Just a quick update on my fantasy my fantasy baseball team. We're still in baseball season, not quite football yet. It seems like we've kind of mirrored the Texas Rangers a season so far with my fantasy team. We started out very hot, on fire, and basically kicking tail. And the last month and a half, we have been in the toilet. So I won't get into it a whole lot here, but just know that I am struggling in fantasy baseball just to try to stay in the top 2 or 3 spots in the league. Like I say, we're just coming out of the All-Star break, so we're a little more than halfway done, and we'll see as we get closer to September. We'll start looking at how the playoffs are going to shape up for my fantasy baseball team. So I hope you enjoyed the episode today. We'll be back with another one soon. So until then, take care of yourself, be good to everybody else, and keep storming the field. You've been listening to Storming the Field. If you've enjoyed your time here with us today, you might consider subscribing to the podcast and leaving us a review. You can also follow us on Twitter. The links are found in the description. I'd love to interact with you and get your feedback. Until next time, keep storming the field.